What is up everyone, this is Jay from Dreamers YGO, and today I bring you all a Pendulum Magician deck profile and some discussion into the deck I played at the Chicago Regional. I ended up in 8th place, and the main reason for bringing you all this deck profile is that it actually played it without Joker and Double Iris, as if the new ban list was already in place. So overall the deck performed very well. I ended up facing one Dark Lord, one Grand Maju deck, one ABC, one Invoked Hand Trap, one Paleo, one Magician, one Spiral, and one 60 card Lightsworn Zombie. So all the decks were variety, which was pretty nice for the event, but would have definitely liked more testing versus Trickstars and Spirals, since I believe those decks can still be very good and the most problematic. Well, let's just go ahead and get started so you guys know what I played for the event. So then for the Magician monsters, I played 3 Harmonizing Magician. It's still a very good card. It's your main combo enabler. You always want to be able to see this and use it. 3 Wisdom Eye Magician helps you fix your scales, and it also triggers Chronograph and Astrograph. 3 Purple Poison. It's just one of your best low scales, so it's just you always just want to see this card, and it's a main one in order to help break your opponent's boards. And then I played Triple of Dragon Magician. So the reason for going to 3 with this is that now, with the old deck, in order to see Harmonizing Magician, what you did most often was play either with Star Pendulum Graph, or your Joker would just search the last combo piece you were missing. But now that's not really a possibility. So O of Dragon's really good because it helps you recur it back if you either send it with Electromite or have another way of putting it into the extra deck. So I really like this card at 3. I really always wanted to see it since it helped enable my most powerful combos. And then the last Magician, Triple Blackfang Magician. So this card just pretty much replaced Double Iris. It's not as good. And one of the things I noticed during the event was actually that I really wanted to be able to use this card's effect to revive in order to make really powerful Link monsters. That's actually one of the strategies I ended up taking in the later rounds, which worked out very well. And then I played Triple Astrograph and the 1 Stargazer, just really good card. No reason to play it. No reason not to play Astrograph if you're playing Electromite. And then Triple Chronograph and the 1 Time Gazer Magician. So the main reason for playing Chronograph is that you still get his effect to summon Time Gazer, but also its level being 6 is really, really relevant in order to be able to make Naruto, which was one of your best starting plays. Okay, and then I did play the 1 White Wing Magician. So the main reason for playing White Wing Magician is not so much to make double Omega, but rather this card, so you know it's coming, ends up on board quite often if you're doing some of your major combos. So then you always wanted to get rid of it in some way. So White Wing Magician is the main one to get rid of it in order for you to be able to use your Harmonizing with other magicians that you already have on board. So that was actually its main reason I played it. So then of the reason why the deck is still so good, I played the Supreme King package. So I have 2 Supreme Kings, 2 Gate Zeros, and then the Dragon Shrines and Foolish Burials. So actually playing 2 was a mistake of the Darkworm. I'm so dumb I didn't notice that earlier. But the main reason is that now your normal summons are all awful, and Darkworm is your only good normal summon that you have. So you always want to see this card whether in hand or be able to dump it with Dragon Shrine or Foolish Burial. So this is just, seeing this go off is really good. So I would always actually try to bait out the Ash with some other cards, such as an Astrograph or Chronograph, in order to make sure that this play went through instead, since it just netted you so much more advantage compared to the Astrograph or Chronograph play going through. But this would definitely, I would bump it up to 3. It was a mistake playing it at 2. I don't know what I was thinking when I was considering my ratios. And then of the hand traps, I played the Triple Ash, and then the deck wasn't 100% legal for the ban list, because I did play the 1 Maxi. I just thought it was like a too clutch of a card that just wins you free games. So I went with that. I think I saw it round 2, probably only, but I didn't see it much, but it was still just a good card to have. You can easily cut it since the deck is at 42 right now, so you can just get rid of it completely. And then another card choice, I played Triple Pot of Desires. So I think the deck just needs to have the extra resources now. It's very, very hard to play if your opponent's able to disrupt you and you don't have all those, like, any of the little other pieces in order for you to be able to get into your place. So 3 Power of Desires for me, I think, is absolutely necessary. I didn't really banish anything worthwhile during the whole tournament, even though, and I saw this card a lot. So I just thought it was completely worthwhile. I don't think I would drop it down to 2. It was just a necessary card for the deck now. And then lastly, I played 2 Duelist Alliance and 2 Time Pendulum Graph. So I think this was a mistake on my end. I don't think I did this ratio correctly. So I would have rather just played 3 Ghost Ogres or anything like that actually just worked on its own standalone without me having to search the Time Pendulum Graph. The main reason for that is that I never really left a Magician itself on the monster zone, so I always had to pop my scales, and I never wanted to pop Oath Dragon, and whenever I popped Black Fang during my opponent's turn, I usually never had a monster in the graveyard to go off. So it was just not very good for me. I think there's a different way to approach this strategy. I'm testing some different things out to see if this card would stay. But I actually cited these 4 cards after every game 1. I would cite them out. And I'll show you guys the side and mention what I cited it out for. But every game 1, I would actually cite them out because they just did not work well with the synergy and the normal plays I was trying to do with the deck. So this in total was 42. I would have liked to play a card that just on standalone would disrupt my opponent, such as Ghost Ogre, and then just cut 1 more card in order to make it 41. And then you could also cut the Maxi, and then you would have a 40 card deck, perfect for the new format. So now looking into the extra deck, I played the 1 Ignister, 1 Dragon Clearwing. This card is so good, it's amazing. It just disrupted so many of my opponent's boards, and then they weren't able to recover all the advantage that they had lost. And then I did end up playing the 2 Omegas. As I mentioned, I played it because I had the opportunity of going into boat, but I actually never really did except 1 duel. But I don't think it's necessary, so I would actually cut it, and I'll mention what to put in its place that I've already thought of. So then the 1 Starving Venom, just very good card. And then for the links, I played Double Electromite. It's just what makes the deck go crazy now. I played the 1 Decode Talker, the 1 Borolo Dragon, and the 1 Saryuja. So Saryuja never came up, but the main idea for it, I'll mention it afterwards when I tell you guys what the main play I was going for. And the main reason for its usage is just that it has 3 pointing down zones that unlock your extra deck. But Borolo Dragon worked amazingly well. I would definitely keep this card. And then Decode also worked very well. Alrighty, and then of the Exceeds, 1 Baguska. I was pretty much almost every duel I went into it. The 1 Dark Rebellion, I think it helped me like steal 1 duel. The 1 Time Star, never made it. 1 Tornado, made it like once. And then Naruto, which I made a few times. It just helped counter my opponent. So then for these 2 cards that you take out, I would actually just go back to the Vortex Odd Ice combo. It comes up fairly often, and with Gate 0 being level 7, your Astrograph, you're actually able to exceed with Astrograph a lot more often to get into that combo itself. And then lastly, for the side deck, I had so 2 Evenly Matched. I didn't have the second one, I borrowed it, and then 1 Gamisio. I would have just played 3 Evenly Matched. And this was mainly to out the Spiral board. So this was for Spirals, and so was Book of Eclipse in order to out the Spiral board. So these were the main 2 cards I cited in for them in order to out their board that they made. Then I played 3 Chaos Hunters for Trickstars. And then 3 Cosmic Cyclones. Pretty much anytime I went anytime I went second, I would cite in this card regardless, just because I was afraid of the Anti-Spell Fragrance. And then anytime I went first, I would cite in Mind Crush regardless, since I was scared of the Evenly Matched. But I would actually change Mind Crush for Solemn Scolding. I think it works fairly well. And then one of the cards I didn't cite at all, mostly because I feel like its utility is a little bit skewed. I don't know how well it works. Wavering Eyes, I haven't liked it during testing. And then in the mirror match, you almost always try to make Naruto. So this card wasn't working as I intended it, so I didn't cite it in at all. I could have probably cited in 1 copy just to ask my opponent to cite theirs out. But that was really it. So I didn't really like it. And now, so now to mention kind of the general play that I did all the time was pretty much my ending board wasn't super like amazing per se, but it was always like Electromite, Bagooska, and then that was really it. So it was Electromite, Bagooska, and sometimes I made the Omega first. So I had used Omega by then. So I made an Omega that I had used. So then, usually on scale, I ended with one either Black Fang, or I had the the OF Dragon. So this is kind of the most standard board that I was making consistently. So the reason why this board is actually very good is that it's super oppressive against pretty much every deck except Spirals and Magicians themselves. So then that's why I said I would have liked maining the triple Ghost Ogre, because it would have helped me destroy the double Helix play, which is their only way of going into a Link 3 that outs Bagooska. So same for Magicians. If they make Electromite and activate its effect to sand, you pretty much destroy it right then and there. So then it's really difficult for them to make another Link 3, which is mainly Decode Talker, in order to be able to out this card. So this card was just very good. This was a lot of like the common board that I would make. So then the nice thing about it was that if my opponent wasn't really able to out this board because they just didn't have the monster effects to do it, in the graveyard, the next turn, I would usually end up with one monster on board already. One monster in the graveyard because of Bagooska's effect. So then you pretty much went Electromite on Black Fang to destroy it and then get either Astrograph or something. And then it will revive this. So then a lot of the things that you could do then is you would just go into a Link 4, which was, during my testing, I was thinking about Saryuja or Borreload. So the reason for Saryuja is just that it has 3 pointing down. So then you would complete your scale, Pendulum a bunch of cards again in order to go off, which was very good. And it also like boosted their attack, which was very helpful. Most of the time I actually never went with this. I just went with Borreload Dragon. So the reason for that is that if my opponent had placed anything on their side, I would just take it and kill it that way. So it was just a very good card that I decided to go with. But the reason for Saryuja was the 3 pointing down. So that was the main reason for it. But I would definitely cut it. I didn't think it was necessary at all. So then that was kind of like the most common play that I went with. And it worked really well. But I would have definitely had like some changes such as Ogres in the main deck. But let me know what you guys think. This is one of I really like this deck, so I've been playing a lot with it, and I've really enjoyed it. So I've tested quite a bit with it. But let me know what you guys end up thinking about it, and if there's any other changes or thoughts you might have as we move with the deck going forward. So for now, my testing is focusing on pretty much either utilizing these cards or getting rid of them completely. And then I would definitely increase my count of Dark Worms, since that was incorrect to play at 2. But let me know what you all end up thinking, and I will see you all next time.